Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are going to wait just a moment for everyone to come in, and then we'll get the conversation started. Thank you for spending your hour with us this afternoon. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Once again, thank you so much for being here today and being a part of this wonderful conversation. Before we get started, I would like to thank Inside Higher Ed for their help in setting up today's webcast. Thank you also to our phenomenal speakers who I'll introduce in just a moment. I will be moderating our conversation today. My name is Brittany Wampler, and I am happy to serve as Kaplan's director for our All Access program. I spent nearly 20 years of my career working in higher education, and namely in academic advising and pre-professional advising. I am joined today by three powerhouse outstanding advisors in higher education. First, Jane Burns, Health Professions Advising Manager at Colorado College. Dr. Rosalind Gregory Bass, Chair and Associate Professor in Environmental and Health Sciences Department, as well as the Director for the Health Careers Program at Spelman College. And Missy Wakuha LaPointe, Director for Pre-Professional Advising at the University of Illinois, Chicago. If you are already in the pre-professional advising space and in the audience today, these names are likely familiar to you. Between the four of us, we have over 75 years collectively of advising experience and many years of participating in leadership roles in higher education professional organizations. It is such a privilege to moderate this conversation today, and thank you to each of you for participating. Before we get started, I'm going to offer up a few housekeeping tips for our conversation today. First and foremost, the Q&A is open throughout the webinar, as well as we will leave some time for questions at the end. And then one of the challenges that I would love to pose is that I would love for you to spend the time with us today, imagining that you are joining us in the discussion around student success and situating your day-to-day work in the conversation that we are having about how to support your students. Special and particular challenge to you. Find one or many takeaways from the conversation, an actionable item that you can bring into your everyday leadership, advising, and student support process. I really, truly hope that you can take away something from this conversation to move you into your day-to-day work, to help invigorate the work that you do, to help and support students day in and day out. Thank you to the audience for being here today. We are going to jump in and get started with our conversation. So we're going to begin just by setting the stage with some background information about each of our panelists, as well as the schools that they work at. Will you share just a brief profile about yourself and your institution and one thing that's happening at your institution that is exciting you right now? And I will pass it over to Jane to get us started.
Thanks, Brittany. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Yes, I'm Jane Burns, and I'm the Pre-Health Advising Manager at Colorado College. I've been here at Colorado College as the Pre-Health Advisor for 17 years, which I know sounds long, but it's been clearly something I enjoy doing. My background is I was a recreational therapist undergrad and got my master's in health administration and then taught at University of Phoenix. So I blended the two favorites together, healthcare and education, in this position, which is why I've been here so long. And I love our students here as well. Colorado College is a small liberal arts college in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We're an hour south of Denver. And some people like to call us the Harvard of the West because we are a small liberal arts school. And of those 2,000 students, I would say 15 and 20% are pursuing a health profession, which is a large amount of students to work with. And I think one of the most unique things to share about our institution is that We focus on a block plan class system as opposed to a semester. So students take one class at a time, 4 classes per semester, and we call them blocks. So in the fall, we're in blocks 1 through 4. In the spring, we're in blocks 5 through 8. And they take classes for 3.5 weeks. And the idea is that they are immersed in the subjects, that is something they can focus on. And many students really like that style. And then when the 3.5 weeks are up, on that Wednesday at noon, they are free to go camping, travel, take some downtime, and then we start back up. So we are now on day 2, week 1 of block 2. So everyone's in new classes right now, and it's very exciting. Thank you. I'm going to move it on to Dr. Gregory Bass.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rosalind Gregory Bass. I am, as already stated, Chair and Associate Professor in the Department of Environmental and Health Sciences and Director of the Health Careers Program. I'm also a Spelman alum and have been serving in this capacity over the past 20 years. It has truly been a labor of love for me. My background actually is in healthcare, trained in medicine, area of physical medicine and rehabilitation, but also have done basic science research, studying gynecologic malignancies and looking at various population health concerns around women and health disparities that specifically impact that population. Over my time throughout my training and during my professional career, I have been focused on training others who are interested in going into health professional careers. And here at Spelman College, it has been part of the fabric of what we've been doing since our inception. We are a small liberal arts college, but ranked #1 among historically Black colleges and universities. Our campus has always had students who have been interested in health professional careers. And I will tell you, even though we have approximately 2,800 students, we have 900 registered with the Health Careers Office. And so it's almost a third of our campus. Even though it leads with students interested in medicine, we have students interested in different careers ranging from dentistry, public health, as well as healthcare management and all of the various allied health professions. Our office has been working diligently, not just in this arena, but I will tell you that we try to make sure that we embrace our liberal arts curriculum here at Spelman. And we know with the onset, or I should say the expansion of our arts department, we have a bustling Arts and Innovation Center. We also have a brand new cosmetic science program and many other initiatives. Even our study abroad office, we have ranked high for making sure that students have global experiences. And that's one of the things that we also have been passionate about, having our students travel, doing global health trips, and we're up to approximately 9 at the culmination of this year. So I am so just honored to be in this space and working with these students who desire to be leaders in the health careers. And I'll pass it on so that we will be able to keep things rolling through our webinar, and I'll pass it on to Misty.
Great, thank you. I'm Misty Waku Point. I'm the Director for Pre-Professional Advising at the University of Illinois, Chicago. I have been here for almost 10 years, a couple months shy of 10 years. And I've been working in higher ed since I graduated from my undergrad experience, which I won't admit how long ago that was, but I worked in highly selective liberal arts admissions for the first 10 years of my career. I've worked for an osteopathic medical and health professions school. I've done the academic advising side. And when I joined health professions advising at another institution before I came to UIC, it was really that combination. I like to tell people it took all of the accumulated random information in my brain and mushed it all together in one job, and it was the perfect fit. So I've been very happy to stay in health professions advising for more than 13 years now. I love being at UIC. We are a public research one university. We're located in Chicago, but we are not downtown. We are just outside of the West Loop. So while we're an urban campus, still have a true campus feel. We are a fairly young institution, founded in our current location since 1965. And really have been serving the same mission since our foundation, which was to provide an affordable four-year education for the people of Chicago. And now we serve more than just the people of Chicago, but most of our students come from Illinois. Many of our students are first-generation college students. It hovers around 45%. And many of our students are Pell eligible, also usually somewhere between 50 and 60% of our students. And we're also a campus where a lot of our students commute. So when we talk about really serving this area, we try to do that pretty truly. We have a lot of students interested in health professions. About 6,000 currently have let us know that they have a health professions educational goal. So a lot of our students come here specifically because they know that this is a great place to get that foundation and jump off to their next step. What I'm excited about currently is that UIC started an Aspire grant this past year. So for Illinois students whose families earn less than $75,000 per year, they're able to attend UIC tuition and fee free, which is fantastic. And even before we were able to offer that, UIC's been gaining, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of gaining an audience nationally, recognizing really our focus on social mobility and how we're able to help students meet them where they are and give them a great foundation for their future goals, whatever those may be. So that's me, and Brittany, I'll turn it back over to you.
That's wonderful. And thank you all for really setting the tone with your institutions and where you're at today. We're going to start with a round robin and give some of those who are listening some of our own go-to tips for preparing students for their future professional competitive program goals. So this isn't just for pre-med students, but really your go-to tips for advising and how you support students day in and day out. And if it does lean into the pre-professional competitive graduate school programs, then that is great. We're going to go the same order. So we'll start with Jane, and then we'll go around and around a few times, and I'll do a last call for quick tips. So Jane, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, thank you. Yes, I have a few. One of my favorites, it is a little more directed to the health profession applicant, mainly more toward medical and dental. I have other ones that I'll share as well. But when I talk to students, I like to talk about my 5-finger plan of what they should be focusing on for a successful application, because that comes up a lot. And when I say 5 fingers, we say MCAT, a GPA, medical experience, research experience, and then the involvement, extracurriculars, and leadership bucket. Those 5 things I mentioned to focus on those. And then also when we talk about letters of recommendation, having letters that reflect on those experiences. So MCAT and GPA we consider academic. So at least, 1 or 2 professors, one in a natural science would be helpful. And then we talk about the other 3 fingers. And it really gets students to think about, oh yeah, and just maybe looking at their hand like, oh, the 5 things I need to know. Like just some quick getaway tips when they leave my office after we chat about it.
I love it. Dr. Gregory Bass.
Yes, thank you for that question. For me, it's interesting that you asked this because I really took some time this summer thinking about everything that was happening in the world, and one of the acronyms that I came up with was centered around hope. H definitely stands for hope, and for me, it's very important that students don't become discouraged, that they focus in on understanding even when there are perhaps challenges that happen with their classes, maybe with relationships, and maybe even as it relates to the first choice of school not working out or the first exam not getting the score they want, that they always remain hopeful. And even when they come in contact with individuals who may not have an encouraging word, but try to dissuade them from going into a particular profession, I also have them focus in on that H of hope. The O stands for opportunities, being able to take full advantage of all the opportunities presented to them, whether it's in their field of interest or outside, because they may find that they have a secondary interest or something that becomes their primary just because they took the initiative to take advantage of what was placed before them. The next letter is P, and that stands for partnerships and peers. There are still many institutions that have a very specific interest in the college or university you may attend, whether that's in a corporate world, whether that's actually in an academic setting for your graduate and professional schools, for students to tap into those, because then it may be less of a harder sell when it comes to really talking about what you're bringing to the table. And peers means that you can learn just as much from your professors as you can from your peers. And your peers may be experiencing things in summer research opportunities or clinical experiences that allow you to then be able to learn from them and be able to leverage that degree of network. And then I will say that the E stands for economics of healthcare, the economics of the undergraduate journey, because especially in this day and time where funding may not be as readily available, it's important for our students to have financial literacy. And it's important for them to make wise decisions so that finances don't become a reason as to why they can't step in to their career of interest. And so, again, we just want our students to remain hopeful and have a pedagogy of resilience.
Great. I love both that you guys have sort of specific names and numbers for your students. I don't have that. But what I do have is, I think, some good advice for my students. So our students often come in kind of hyper-focused. They know that they want to help people, but success is very important when you're coming often from a first-gen or low-income background, and you're really focused on like, what is success and how do I get there? Sometimes to the exclusion of really thinking about the why of why they want to get there, or their fit, or what other professions there may be that are really helpful for them. So I always tell students, if they do nothing else early on in their career, start a Google Doc, start a Google spreadsheet, putting in their activities, their courses, the things that they're doing and that they're spending time on. One, because it makes it easier to track later on. But two, they don't know who they are yet. So they're going to experience a lot of things that surprise them, that worry them, that get them excited. And anytime they have a strong emotion, writing a sentence or two about it, building that over the next 4 years allows them to see how far they've come between their first year and their second year, to understand the things that they are getting excited about. And so if they are finding that this particular activity, maybe it's research, maybe it's something else. I have nursing students who sometimes realize they don't like to touch people once they get their experiences, but making note of those things helps them triangulate their interests, helps them redirect if they realize, oh, maybe this isn't the right field, but look at all of these other things that I've experienced, that I've had an interest in. And ultimately, when they come to write their personal statements, when they come to write their activities lists, they've got a really good background of what they've done, why they've done it, and how they've grown. And it helps them develop their sense of, what is my fit? As more schools are looking at mission fit and selecting students, how do students figure out what their mission fit is, and then find that fit between themselves and an institution?
That's great. I wrote a few down myself. I think one of the things that a lot of students, and I worked predominantly in public higher education where the students, kind of the overall institutional profile was very similar to that of UIC. And I feel like students today are feeling so much pressure. And so reminding students that this is their life's journey and that when they are ready and they feel that they have their best application, that that is the time to put that application in. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that is the time where their peers are doing it, but it's their individual journey to get to where they want to go. And then alongside that timing piece, I think in the world of most, when we pay our bills, when we do big things in our life, we're looking at the deadlines. And it is the exact opposite in the world of competitive professional degrees, where the deadline is too late. And so it is important to encourage students to not pay attention to deadlines in this particular situation, but that the early bird, those who apply early, statistically have the best opportunity for review, interview, and acceptance. And so that always stuck out for me is we have to think in opposites when it comes to deadlines, because if they wait until the deadline, their opportunity has passed in most cases. Let me do a last quick call. If there are any other tips that you would like to shout out. Go ahead, Jane. No need to raise your hand, but I do love
Okay.
that.
I have a few, I'll kind of put it all together, but one of my biggest things that I say or I suggest to all is reframe. Many times when I'm talking to students, especially if we're talking about application process, it's what does that school want me to do? What do I have to do for that school? And I really focus on reframing that thought process to them. What do you want to do for medical school? I get the question of, should I be an EMT? Should I be a CNA? And then I'll turn it right back on them, turn the question back. I don't know. Do you want to be a CNA? Do you want to be an EMT? What are the experiences you want to have to bring with you to medical school? Trying to get this to allow the student to reframe and think about, I am applying to these programs which has skills. Do I have those skills to be competitive, to be in that school? Am I ready on day one to, like Misty was saying, touch a patient, even though I'm really afraid to touch people? Maybe I should give myself those experiences prior to getting into that program.
Yeah, I think similar to that is this sense of I have to have this GPA and this MCAT, and then if I do, I'm going to get into this school. Or once I've hit my checkbox, my checklist of things, that's all I need to do. Versus taking a look and really going beyond, do my stats match this school? Is this geography where I want to be? And really looking at what does the school have to offer you as a student? What opportunities, what populations do they serve? Do you want to do research? All of those sorts of things. And again, that knowing themselves will help them better match up with that school. And I'm sure you guys have as well. I have seen students that they only get into one medical school and it's their dream medical school, but it's because they were able to make that connection and that fit. And that's true across the health professions, I would say, and really being thoughtful and knowing oneself, whether you go into health professions or a career outside of the health professions, you are ultimately, I think, going to find more satisfaction in what you're doing because you've got a purpose and a rationale for why you're making the choices that you're making.
And I think I will share, I love all of the pieces around reflection, as well as just making sure that students are intentional about their journey. One thing that I find that is sometimes intimidating for students but they don't recognize the number of resources that they can find in these spaces is for them to really see themselves already as that professional, as that student, and taking advantage of the many conferences because some of them will have an undergraduate student rate, or you may find that your institution would be willing to sponsor you. Such examples would be the American Medical Student Association may have workshops for undergraduate pre-med or pre-health students. The Student National Medical Association. There's even the American Physician Assistant, or excuse me, Physician Scientist Association, APSA. They even have a mentorship program for students who want to get their MD, PhD. And so they can start with that level of mentorship, providing research opportunities. And so I could go down the line. Even the National Association for the Advisors of the Health Professions has a student development conference that they offer where there's recruitment opportunities. And so students shouldn't feel too shy about leveraging those resources as well, so that they can have another touch point with admissions representatives and get the information, especially if their undergraduate institution doesn't have a pre-professional office, that this may be a way that they can tap into those advisors. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention National Association of Medical Minority Educators. They too have a student recruitment event at all of their conferences. So yes, I just wanted to mention those as well.
Think that this advice is just absolutely gold. And I will wrap by saying that students should not feel alone in their process of pursuing their future, that there are so many people that are available to be of support to students as they are seeking their career, as they are fine-tuning what they want to do and figuring out who they are. So while you might be feeling alone at times, there's support out there, and everyone has the opportunity to put together their board of directors, the people in their life and pre-professional advisors included that can help support their dreams and their goals and be great sounding boards along the way. Jane, I'm going to call on you very briefly. Megan Beadle asked if you could just repeat your 5-finger advice, please.
MCAT, GPA, healthcare experience, research experience, and then volunteering involvement and experience, or LIE, leadership involvement experience.
Thank you so much. And if anybody didn't catch it, you're going to get this recording in your inboxes at some point in the near future. Thank you. Let's turn gears a little bit. I want to talk about our students. Our North Star is our students, right? And now in this day and age, our goals in helping to prepare students for their next steps following graduation can include multiple pathways: gap years, time off, joining the workforce, pursuing that advanced degree directly after. But as we are speaking with students in our offices and on our campuses, what are some of the common academic and personal challenges that you are seeing in your day-to-day right now? Would anyone like to kick it off?
Oh,
Jane,
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
thought I was always going first.
Oh, you don't have to. I don't mean to put the pressure on you.
If someone else wants to take it first, go ahead.
Well,
No?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I will say that when I approach what are current barriers or things that students are also echoing, it's really at multiple levels. One, K through 12 preparation. And so our students who are coming from communities or educational departments that perhaps had funding challenges, et cetera, once they get to college, they begin to compare themselves to other students, and they start to understand whether they had certain experiences that would allow for them to maintain the same level of academic success or remain on that continuum. I think it's very important that we as individuals in higher ed, that there are a number of checks and balances so that we don't have individuals fall through the cracks And so students will begin to share in advising sessions that I've never had to study before. And now this is my first time really being challenged in this way. And I want to know, how can I still be successful? And I think it's upon us to make sure that we're well versed about what are all of the different tutoring services on campus, what are the various math labs or other tutorial things that could assist them throughout their journey. So that would be one. But then the other is navigating the ever-changing world of healthcare and understanding what are the new demands. So we try and make sure that students are aware. For instance, artificial intelligence is a huge wave that has come through, and we know it's being discussed in many different arenas. And so, how are we changing our curriculum to best meet the needs of the future, and helping students to understand how these technologies will be infused into their day-to-day careers? So those are just some of the things that I think students have stated, is that they want to be able to do well in their courses. They want to be able to make sure they're prepared at that next level. And those are just some of the things. Other things in terms of mentorship and clinical guidance. We try to make sure that we have a repertoire of services available to them. But I will say that their pre-professional preparation or pre-undergraduate preparation, as well as keeping up with the ever-changing career demands, is what I'm hearing most often.
Um, Ours is maybe a little bit different. So again, coming from a school where our students are not necessarily living on campus, and finances are something that is a large concern for our students. Many of them have to work while they are a student. Some of them work full time, many of them work part time. And sometimes the jobs that are most convenient and or pay the best are not necessarily those in health professions career and health professions pathways. So they might get certified as a CNA or an EMT, but to be quite honest, McDonald's is paying more and has better hours and tuition benefits. So really working with our students to understand the value of their experiences, no matter what field that falls into, and then the transitional and translational skills that they can bring with them, is one of those things. At the same time, they are perhaps more impacted by the current world in which we live in than other students. We're a really diverse campus, and as some people know, Chicago is kind of a hot button location at the moment, and that is absolutely impacting our students. And so really trying to make sure that they feel supported on campus, not just through the academic advising side, but really across campus, and knowing where their resources are, where who are the individuals who can help them find the things that they need, whatever those specific things may be. So as Dr. Gregory Bass said, that they don't slip between the cracks.
And I would say one of the areas that we added last year was academic coaching. Many of us became certified academic coaches over the summer. I'm one of them. And because of that training and what I've gone through in the last couple of years, I have absolutely been able to adapt that to my advising with pre-health students. And it works out so well because we do have a diverse campus as well. We have students that come from very different backgrounds. And everyone is unique. And that one thing that we focus on is not that cookie cutter applicant, like, oh, checklist, like, yes, I did this, I did this, I did this. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about why are you becoming an EMT? Because you want to be, or is it that checklist mentality? And really focusing on the student as to who they are and meet them where they are. Academic coaching really helps with that because you're using questions, guiding them. The student is in the driver's seat. Why do you want to go to medical school? One of the first things I talk to students about, and not necessarily medical, but any of the health professions, if they mention I want to go in a certain health profession, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? And I'm going to medical school, like I will be a doctor, just using it as the example. And when they tell me the number, that helps me gauge where we're going in the conversation. Okay, if you're a 6, you're not quite there, you're thinking about it. If you're a 9 or a 10, oh, this is a goal, like you want to do this. And then that guides the direction to what are you doing for those steps to be able to do that? Or I don't know what those steps are. Again, meeting the students where they are. Not everyone has parents that are doctors or family members. Some of our students come from backgrounds where they didn't even really know what a doctor did or didn't get to even see a doctor. And so, but they want to help. They want to work in their community. And so I think that focus of asking them what they want and where they are is definitely a help in the right direction, because they're driving the bus and it's their narrative that they're creating when they're writing that application, and their genuine self is coming through. So whatever challenges they're going through undergrad, we can work through that in those questions and guiding that so that they can be successful in their application.
Great. We've gotten a number of questions in the Q&A around this kind of adjacent question, which is, what are some high impact initiatives that you've seen be successful to bolster student support when they have barriers? And kind of another way to think about that is, when we're working with students who might not be academically prepared to enter these more rigorous professions or competitive professions, what are some of the success strategies that you employ?
I don't know that we have like a specific success strategy, because I think what Jane was speaking to, it's so individual to each student. And so I think for me, I think the best thing that we can do is meet the student where they are and tailor our advice to the specific needs of the student, or at the very least, provide multiple pathways to their ultimate goals. So it might be, here's what pathway 1 looks like, this timing, this cost. Here's what pathway 2 looks like, this timing. Have you thought about pathway 3, 4, and 5, which maybe lead to different careers or different focuses, but you're using the same skills, you're using, the same experiences that you've had, and maybe are a better fit. And if not, that's okay, because you've still got these 5 other options. So I think particularly with health professions, there are so many different opportunities and varieties of fields that folks just don't know about, that sometimes it's just opening their minds and exploring the opportunities. And we try to do that through some of our programming on campus. In the fall and in the spring, we have a couple of big programs trying to get students introduced to a variety of different things, but that's not necessarily like an end point. We want that to happen early on in that process.
Yeah, I would say that's one of my favorite challenges, is working with students that feel like they can't do it, or maybe someone told them that. I remember early on as an advisor, I had people tell me, oh, I was told by such and such advisor that I can't be a doctor. And that is not our role. Our role is not to tell anybody what they can or cannot do. Our role is to help maybe possibly guide them to what they'd like to do, or open the door, like Misty was saying. There's other health professions out there. I would say a lot of students in their first year are thinking medical school, and a lot of times it could be for lack of not knowing other health professions that they could look at. And so we try to expose them to all of the health professions and bring in, different people in careers and our alums specifically to talk about that. And then look at, okay, maybe your GPA is not where you want it to be, or the MCAT score wasn't what you want to be. There's options. There's post-bac programs. There's master's programs. There's all kinds of ways. Maybe it's a little more challenging for them because they started out poorly, and yes, they have to increase that GPA. Doesn't mean it can't be done. It's all about their drive and their ambition to wanting to do it. And again, back to that academic coaching where they're the driver and we're just helping guide their way. It really is fun to watch that. That's probably my favorite thing, is to watch them look at that challenge and go, maybe I should do this. And a lot of times I wanted to be a doctor since I was 5. And now I just don't really have the ability, or I don't think I really want to go to medical school for 4 years. And well, what about being a PA or a nurse practitioner? And once they start thinking about that and maturing and that brain's developing, it's like, oh, that I'd have a better life balance for me personally. I should follow that. So it's really fun to watch that path with students.
And I will say I've had those students who, they start out and they're not quite ready, and it does take them 8 to 10 years to get to that final path, but they're determined and they select it out. They've thought about, the cost and the that cost benefit analysis, and determine that it has. And I have an alum who's about to graduate from medical school this year, who falls into that category, and she has had fantastic opportunities, but she did have to do a number of steps, but she was willing to do them to get to her final goal.
Yeah, I would definitely echo what Misty and Jane have mentioned in regards to not having a one prescription for every student. I think that you really have to talk to your students. They're not just numbers, but they have personal, academic, and career related short and long-term goals, and to hear about their full story. I think that is what's helped me the most, engaging how to best assist in my mind, and we've put it on paper, all of the different Venn diagrams that for this profession, if your GPA is this versus that, then we move in this direction. If your score on your test is this versus that, then we move in this direction. But I also, try to use evidence-based practice around what happens for Spelman students. So even the culture and the outcomes for students at your institution will matter. And so we spend a lot of time understanding where have our students landed, what were the average GPAs of those students based on what career they ended up going into or what grad program they attended. And it gave us a way of even using that information to advise our students by saying, most students interested in this profession, this is where, this was their average GPA. It doesn't mean that this won't happen for you, but let's talk a little bit about that based on the profile of Spelman students and Spelman alumni. And then for them, it becomes a little bit more tangible because they know that these are individuals who've sat in their very seats and that they have been able to still accomplish said goals. And I agree. I'm sure among the three of us, we have so many different stories of resilience and triumph. And I too can think of young women who since I'm at an all women's college, that have perhaps had GPAs where one advisor may say, this is never going to happen. Medicine is never going to be an option. But in talking with them and helping them to be open, they were able to take advantage of partnership related opportunities or not, but the partnerships definitely have helped us, where a student went from a 1-year master's program that was paid for because we knew her financial background and understanding that she didn't have resources to pay for a master's degree program, that then because of who she was and how she had an excellent work ethic, was invited to stay on for a doctoral program. And all along the way was still taking the MCAT in order to see how she did. But because of her outcomes and having her doctorate degree and maintaining relationships, at the culmination or end of her doctoral program, was able to gain acceptance into Virginia College of Osteopathic Medicine, the South Carolina campus, and is now an attending physician up in Delaware. And it has just been it's just been beautiful to be part of that journey with her. I have countless stories, but I agree. You have to understand your population that you're working with and to make sure that they understand how it's so important to be open. And same thing, all your future anesthesiologists that may not necessarily um, have what is required at a certain stage. We've been able to have them look at anesthesiology assistant programs, which are taking off, and those students are thriving as well.
I love how all of you are throwing in all of the separate career pathways throughout this conversation that students can consider. I think that's been if I kept a running list, there would be such a good selection of alternative pathways. I want to switch gears a little bit and I want to talk about Kaplan's All Access program. Each and every one of you on your campuses has All Access. And my position at Kaplan is serving as director for All Access. So just very briefly, the program is an umbrella program where institutions have the opportunity to license different test prep credentials, licensing preparation, as well as skills development courses. And instead of a student paying out of pocket for test and licensure preparation or for these credentials, the university licenses all of the courses and they get unlimited access to those courses, where students then get all access for free. So each of you have the All Access program on your campuses through the All Access licensure. And I'd love to talk a little bit about what this has meant for your campuses and specifically for your students.
I can start. Most of my students can't afford test prep courses. A couple $1,000s is really out of reach for many of them. Not all of them. Some will take gap year, save their money, and utilize that. But it's been fantastic to sort of have students say it took a weight off, that they were able to sign up and are excited about taking the course or have been working through the course, and that it's one less thing to worry about and one less thing to save for, and what is often an expensive process in terms of applying to health professions or law school program. And it's been great. We did a lot of marketing originally, which I think was great, but what I am enjoying is that whenever I bring it up with a student, they're like, oh yeah, I know, I'm already signed up. Or I have yet to have a student say, oh, I didn't know about it. So I think between the initial marketing push and then word of mouth between the students, they are excited for each other to be able to really utilize the opportunity and take advantage of it.
Yes, All Access for us, we were able to see that we have now more of a cohesive understanding of the number of students that are receiving test prep. So it used to be that, of course, they would be going to many different programs and we couldn't really gauge an understanding of what was the impact of the ones that they were taking. But having this all encompassing and for it to be more localized in terms of our engagement with a test prep platform, we're able to do more tracking and we're able to also have, and it's not that we, prevent people from taking advantage of other resources, but the fact that we do have this conversation with them on a regular basis, for a population that may not have monies just set aside just for test prep, that this has really helped them to know that this is part of their journey as an undergraduate student and that it's available should they decide to take full advantage of it. And so I like the fact that we do have these resources, and I like the fact that we have the ability to offer it to them without there being another burden of cost.
And I've had the pleasure of watching how offering this test prep opportunities to our students has come a long way in the last 6-7 years since we have offered it. It was back at the beginning through our Career Center, funded through the Career Center as a dynamic half block, back to our block plan. In January, we have 2-week courses that we call half block. And we thought that'd be a great opportunity to offer students kind of like a boot camp, like an MCAT boot camp that Kaplan provided to our students. They would come on campus, but we realized it was very limited because it would be 2 weeks and then like a 12-week study plan. and it was going okay, but it wasn't the best. And as things progressed and we met with people from Kaplan, we discovered that it'd be better to offer the full program. And then the all access came on board, I think, for us last year. That's a game changer, because one of the issues we had is it was only offered in April, or I mean in the spring, and then they could maybe study on their own in the summer, but it really wasn't designed to take it when they wanted to take it. All access is now, I can't express how awesome it is to have a student at my desk look at their face when I tell them, we have all access. You can start tomorrow. You can start in, February. And to watch, like Missy was saying, the weight on their shoulders come down and their face be unstressed and be like, and it's free. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. And it's something that Colorado College offers to our students if you want it. And then we were able to also increase the ability to take the DAT prep, because we didn't have DAT prep. We didn't have very many students that were dental students, and we do now. And it was an easy discussion. Part of the all access is GRE, DAT, all of it, and it has been really helpful. Like I said, and also for those that graduate, they can still access that for, I think, half price, or even a smaller price, which is still great, because again, meeting students where they are. Not everybody knows when they're a senior and they think, oh, I didn't think to take it. Okay, well, you can sign up now as a student and you've got a year to take it. It's just wonderfully flexible, and it really is a game changer.
That's great feedback. Thank you. Oftentimes all access encompasses more than just the pre-health piece of it. And it's credentials to help students get ready to launch their career path and be more competitive on their resumes and through their searching for their first job, or it's upskilling and being able to earn a certificate that also can go on their resume or on social media, or licensure prep for nursing, and on and on. Have you worked across campus as a part of this in terms of marketing, or working with faculty, or working with administration to make sure that it is across campus?
Well, one of the benefits for us is that it's basically done through our career center. So, and we're not under the career center anymore. We are called the advising hub. And so we are partners with them, but it is their department that offers it. So right there is helpful, because they advertise it and publish it. And then of course we do too.
For us, it's the same. And it's twofold in that we really see our institution as having two career development offices. We have the health careers office, and then we have the career planning and development office. And so we take care of all things MCAT, DAT, PCAT, or well, not necessarily PCAT anymore, but OAT. And then we have on the career development side, or career planning and development, they handle LSAT, GRE, GMAT. So that's how we are able to stay in communication with one another about the services, but based on the population that they see, that's the test that they will advertise. So, but we're doing a better job also in terms of making sure that other entities on campus are aware of this benefit for our students.
Anything else you want to add, Misty, before we switch gears?
Yeah, probably similar experience. We're a large institution, so undergrad and graduate can be a little bit siloed. And while I'm in some of those conversations and knowing about the medical school using the USMLE prep, we haven't had, I think, all access quite as long as other folks. So it's still, I think, in some areas being rolled out a little bit, but certainly on the undergraduate side, folks are excited about it, and looking forward to sort of seeing more usage across campus.
Okay, we've got, simply put, 6 minutes. So here's what we're going to do. And this conversation flew by. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do popcorn and choose one person, and we're going to try to get through as many questions as we can to get us to that 3 o'clock mark and everybody's next meetings. So here we go. I'm going to ask the first question to Dr. Gregory Bass, and the question is, a lot of people do this work in pre-professional advising and in advising college students. And some would even guess that this feels like a calling or a mission in life. So why do it? Why continue to do it? And what is your draw?
I would say for me, again, thank you for this question, because when individuals do ask why pre-health advising, I really have to be reflective of my journey. And I know that as a student who was able to benefit from many different opportunities as being the result of my time at Spelman and beyond, I recognize that there were key individuals who were able to provide me with guidance, support, motivation. And when I began my journey in various health professional spaces, I began to look around and understand the totality of what was happening in healthcare. It is an awesome profession. The ability to be able to serve and help others, especially in their time of need. It takes a special type of person to deal with the pressures that come with healthcare, but also to know that in these spaces, you have to be knowledgeable, be able to pivot quickly, and you have to actually care and have compassion for the individuals you serve. I knew that at some point along my journey, and even while I was going through that process, I was constantly mentoring others. And because of my love of science and because of um, my inquiry in how we can always be in a mindset of solutions, I wanted to be in a position where I wasn't just seeing health disparities or wasn't just seeing um, few individuals coming from backgrounds like myself not being able to gain access. It became even more important to me to be involved. And I live by, to whom much is given, much is required, and that's why I wanted to be in a space where I could help others. And so to be a pre-health advisor has allowed me to bring together all of my passions and to then be able to hopefully make something I say, or I'm hoping that something I say can also motivate, inspire, and also give students that key piece they need in order to be able to bridge into those health professional careers. And we know we have a crisis in the United States right now when it comes to workforce development in this area, and that's the reason for me as to why pre-health advising is so special and so impactful.
Oh my gosh. I love that answer, and thank you so much for sharing all of that. I couldn't agree more. Pre-health advising is a very special place in higher education. Jane, very quickly, how did you get certified as an academic coach from the Q&A?
Yes, so we just went through a training over the summer through the Association for the Coaching and Tutoring Institute, ACTI, or yeah, sorry, ACTP. That is the program we went through. We also went through a training the year before. I'm not remembering the company for that one specifically because we didn't get certified through them. We wanted to actually be certified. So 5 of advisors from our office went to Portland. They're doing another training. If you go to the website ACTP, they're doing another training in January, and I think that's in San Antonio.
Outstanding, thank you. Okay, I'll put it out to anyone, although I'm going to kick you off, Misty. What are the biggest opportunities right now for student success and for students today?
Well,
Look out toward the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the way that things are changing around student loans and higher education in general, I think really access to education that's affordable for students across the board, and that campuses really think about how do we make ourselves both appealing and accessible. And I, of course, would say, think about that social mobility piece. And how can you help your students from that perspective?
Anyone else? I think one of the opportunities, and I'll close us out, is we in higher education are in a moment. And I think our opportunity to align with workforce, what Dr. Gregory Bass was just talking about, to align and make sure that students feel that they belong on our college campuses and that this is a space for them to learn, grow, and thrive, and continuing to create those spaces where students feel that this is where they belong is critically important on our campuses, in our workforce, and heading toward their future success goals, no matter what those are. I want to thank each of you for your time today. I look up to each and every one of you as real pioneers in this field in supporting students. Thank you for being a part of this conversation today. I took notes, and I'm sure that those who listened in to our conversation have a lot to take home and a lot to think about how we embed within our own practices and our day-to-day best practices, such as those that you shared with us. So thank you once again, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of their day. Take care.
Thank you.